Hey everyone. I didn't plan on going on today, but thought it would be cool to see if people are on here on a Sunday. I'm still getting used to YouTube Live, so bear with me here. How was everybody's Sunday? Live chat, top chat, all messages, moderation timestamps. Does everybody know what the lost cause is? The lost cause theory? You guys familiar with that? I think it actually is very important to where we are today in a political atmosphere. When the South lost, they didn't want to admit what the war was really about. They didn't want to say it was about slavery. They wanted to say it was about state rights. So because they didn't like losing, they made a bunch of excuses as to saying, oh, they had more people than us. We were on the right side of history. We're heroes. So a lot of the widows actually buried them and had memorials built for them. They want to honor these people that wanted to hold on to black people. There was I had a piece of paper printed out here. Hold on. I'll find it up here. But they were losers, right? The Confederacy lost. And they basically tried to rewrite history, which is essentially what the MAGA movement's doing. They don't like an election that they lost. They don't like that he's a felon or a sexual abuser or a pedophile. They just want to, oh, it's all fake, it's all fake, it's all faked. And the Confederacy was kind of like, we never really squashed it out. We just didn't. We let it fester like mold. As far as I know, nobody was put in jail. Nobody was put down. Nobody was unalived. Nobody was exiled. And I feel like that part of our history has come back to bite us in the ass by just letting it fester for all these years. Let me see if my... Is the chat working? Sorry. I'm still getting used to YouTube a little bit here. So I just wanted to see what everyone thought about that. That was something that I've done a lot of research on. I put a video out today on it. Yeah, the lost cause is basically we're losers. We lost. The guy in the White House, the Klan leader, is basically worshiping Robert E. Lee. He was a piece of crap. He didn't want black people to be treated differently. Thank you. I'm going to read you this quote from, hold on. Mississippi and Texas put out two pretty crazy quotes. This was during the war. Where was it? Mississippi. Hold on a second. Let me find the quote. Bear with me for 1 second here. I have it. I threw out the paper. Now I have to find the quote. Yeah, so the vice president. Now, I'm just going to quote this. So there's some language that I'm not fond of, but it is part of what these people said. The vice president of the Confederacy, which was Alexander H, said, this is called his cornerstone speech. Its cornerstone rests upon the great truth that the Negro is not equal to the white man, that slavery is his natural and normal condition. That really summarizes MAGA, right? Anybody that's not Caucasian, to them, is less than. When they go in a grocery store, were you born here? Are you a citizen? Why aren't you speaking English? Good to see you, Mariah. That's what they are. Mississippi. Our position is thoroughly identified with the institution of slavery, the greatest material interest of the world. Its labor supplies the product which constitutes by far the largest and most important portion of commerce of the earth. These products are peculiar to the climate verging on the tropical regions, and by an imperious law of nature, none but the black race can bear exposure to the tropical sun. These products have become necessities of the world, and a blow at slavery is a blow at commerce and civilization. Would you hear that? Mississippi's justification for the Civil War was because the world needed the products that were raised as agricultural products in Mississippi. And that black people were the only people, because of their skin color, that could handle the tropical sun. And that by taking away slavery, that would decommission commerce. You know how sick of a human being you have to be to even put that in writing? It's sick. It's truly, truly sick. Texas. She was received into the Confederacy with her own constitution, under the guarantee of the federal constitution and the compact of annexation, that she should enjoy these blessings in the institution of African slavery. Welcome, Vonda. The servitude of the African to the white race within her limits, a relation that had existed from the first settlement of her wilderness by the white race, and which her people intended should exist in all future time. When I hear people say they don't want to talk about this as a great country, that's what I'm talking about. It's never been great. In 1860s, one of the Supreme Court justices, hold on, 1860s. What's his name? Justice. Yeah, it was a Dred Scott versus Sanford. It ruled that people of African descent, both enslaved and free, were not and could not become citizens of the United States. That was 100 years after the Constitution was written. And these are the people that are sitting in church today for 1 hour pretending to be a Christian. And they just want to, let's not talk about the bad parts of history. The majority of history is a bad part in this country. I was talking to my son today about this. He's like, what do you think the greatest country in the world? He said Switzerland. He's like, why? They have universal health care. They don't have a massive homeless problem. I talked to a guy yesterday from Sweden. They don't have any homeless people over there. Yes. Do they pay a 52% tax rate? They have free college, free health care. They don't have homeless, and they have a good quality of life. Which is better? That or the United States? Thank you, Claire. No, Mariah, it's funny. The evangelicals have always wanted the Confederacy. It was about weaponizing religion to justify slavery and white supremacy. That's all it's been. It's all it's ever been, right? They how can you call this a Christian nation, but then say that black people can't sit in the same church and praise God? Why is that? If we're all created in the image of God, why is it that only the white man? So God basically created people to serve the white man. What Bible are you people reading from? The Bible of the KKK? I mean, what? It's sick. It's nowhere in the Bible. Just like Christianity's not in the Bible. Being a Lutheran, being a Catholic, rosary beads. That's religion. Religion has been used since the beginning of this country and across the world to control people, to scare them. And even if you look right now and you go on social media, it's always these ignorant young white creators, right? Oh, my God is an awesome God. Well, that's nice because your grandma wasn't a slave. Your great-grandfather wasn't hanging from a tree, wasn't fed to an alligator, wasn't put into a boiling vat of sugar. Must be really nice. But I bet your grandparents owned a black person. Well, hey, let's just ignore the bad parts of history. We're great. No, we're not. America is a great country or good to live in when you're really rich and powerful. You're right, Hendrik. If you're a rich white man, it's great. 3 people have as much wealth as 50% of our country. 70% of this country live almost paycheck to paycheck. How's that a great country? How do we have a $4 trillion operating budget? $4 trillion. While minimum wage is $7.25. 36.8 million people live in poverty. 14 million kids go to school hungry. Almost 800,000 people live as homeless. How is that great? How do we have over 40,000 people be murdered every year from guns? We do not a damn thing about it except thoughts and prayers. There's nothing we can do. It's a Parkland and Uvalde, in their eyes, is a cost of doing business for the Second Amendment that was written by racist founding fathers that own black people when muskets were around that took 1 minute to reload. But they don't want to read well-regulated. It goes back to this victim mentality that I'm talking about here. They always need to be the victim. Then they're going to say they're coming from a Christianity. Then it's Mr. Potato Head. It's Dr. Seuss. Oh, it's right. It's fake news, right? Oh, it's rigged. It's the radical left. Oh, he didn't really abuse her. Oh, he wasn't a felon. He wasn't this. He wasn't this. Thank you, Harrison. Yeah, Harrison, you know what's interesting? Is the Pharisees, which is what they are. These people, you got to realize this. These people are not followers of Jesus or God or the Bible. They want to maintain the patriarchy. That's all it is. It's about control. And I don't care if you're gay, trans, straight, black, white, purple. I don't give a damn. Documented, undocumented. I've always believed, whether you agree with it or not, to love thy neighbor as thyself. That's it. Who's allowed to be in church? You really gonna like let a president who rapes women and molests little girls at Epstein Island, somehow that's okay? But if you're trans, you can't come. Do you know what a hypocrite you are? That's gross. It's totally gross. Brian said, law or not, wrong is wrong. I'm not sure what you're referring to, Brian. Sorry. Appreciate your honesty. Nothing with the truth. No, Malik. And I think the problem is that while we're here, and I've realized this more and more as I made more videos, when I look at not just the mainstream media, but the larger influencers, the bro podcasts. Hey, Logan. They don't address this issue. And I've been saying this for a long time. Until we address the Confederacy, which is what MAGA is, it doesn't matter. The Confederacy got off with a slap on their hands. They were let back into the Union. You could almost make the argument they should have never been let back in, because they want to be a vote anchor on the society. They want to rule by minority rule. That's why they don't want to undo, the Electoral College, because they want minority rule. That's why they don't want to take away Senate seats. We have 41 million people live in California. You're going to tell me that North and South Dakota are going to basically zero out our votes? That's ridiculous. That is not equal representation in any way, shape, or form. That is minority rule. You should rewrite the Constitution. DC should be a state. Puerto Rico should be a state. Are they citizens? Yeah. Why not? Why should they have to pay taxes? Puerto Rico's pay taxes. They're U.S. citizens. You don't need a passport to go to Puerto Rico. 3.203 million people live in Puerto Rico. Why shouldn't they be a state? Why shouldn't they have senators and congressmen? Why shouldn't DC? They have as many people in DC as they do in Wyoming. Yeah, I didn't pay too close to Bush Jr. I wasn't super engaged in politics back then, to be honest with you. Yeah, there's 3.203 million people live in Puerto Rico. DC has as many people as Wyoming. It's about just over 500,000. Yeah, Reginald, every news station is complicit in this. And I think, honestly, CNN, I expect this from Fox News and Chris Cuomo. I mean, he's a sellout. He's just a grifter. He's not a smart guy. He's going to where the money is because he's not relevant, and he knows he's not relevant. So he's trying to dip into the MAGA cult to pick off a few people so we can get likes and views and make money off of it. That's all he's doing. He's a troll. CNN has done the same thing. They've gone with this white supremacist Scott Jennings. That's what he is, a white Christian nationalist. Go listen to Scott Jennings talk about slavery. He doesn't want to talk about it. Oh, yeah, Brian, it was atrocious. And that's the problem, is there's too many people in this country, my demographic, that want to just close their eyes to the actual history of this country. That's disgusting. They only want white history. The reality is they don't. We're indoctrinated with nationalism. We're born in, and I've said this before, and if I sound repetitive, I'm sorry. American flag diapers, you're the best. You're the best. You're number one. You're number one. The greatest in the whole world. Pick yourself up by the bootstraps. Have 2.3 children. Great. Now you work 3 jobs, 4 jobs, right? You pray to this flag. We worship the flag. It's essentially a religion, right? It's almost like a deity. It's not normal. No other country in the world worships a symbol like this. And these people worship the flag more than they care about the people that the flag represents. That's nationalism. And when you care more about a symbol than the actual people that it represents, this is what happens. Yeah, it was like there in Egypt. Yeah, the atrocities we did in this country was horrendous. It was. I'm going to start making one video a week. I just posted one. It's been a while since I read Daniel. I like Habakkuk and the book of Jeremiah. Jeremiah was my favorite major prophet, and Habakkuk was my favorite minor prophet. I just posted. It's called The Poor Losers of History, the Confederacy and the Lost Cause, because that's what they were. They were losers. Absolute losers. They lost. And this country just let them off. And that is going to come back and bite us in the butt because we're dealing with that right now. Whether we like it or not, that's where we are. It's the playbook of the autocracy from Germany. Yep. This is fascism. And there's too many people that are living in their privilege right now because they don't think it's going to affect them. They think that their whiteness is going to keep them safe, which is sad. One of the things that bothered me the most out of this last election, obviously the fact that a rapist is a president, a pedophile, and a felon that caused an insurrection, is the lack of empathy. And when you really look at that, think about the Republican platform. What is the question that you hear? Are you better off than you were 4 years ago? That's a very selfish question. Let's say that I live in a court. Let's say I have more money in my bank account. What if all of my other neighbors aren't as well off as I am? What kind of person does that make me? If I only care that I'm doing okay and everyone else is getting screwed. What kind of person of faith does that make me if you're supposed to love that neighbor? I voted in this last election knowing that my taxes would go up as a small business owner. I voted for women's rights, for voting rights, for small businesses to get help, for child tax credits, universal health care, taking money. I voted for everybody else in this country except for me. And Republicans only vote for themselves. So they call it personal liberty, but it's selfishness. As I make this live video on a Sunday, right? If there's no greater commandment than to love your neighbor as thyself, why is it that your platform is, do I have more money? Are we not supposed to give unto Caesar what is Caesar's? When the rich man came to Jesus, didn't he ask him, hey, I want to follow you. Great. Anything. Just let me know. Anything. I want you to sell all of your worldly possessions and donate your money to the poor and follow me. And he put his head down and he walked away. It is easier for a camel to get through the eye of a needle than for a rich man to get to heaven. And these Pharisees that wear MAGA hats have chosen worldly possessions, capitalism, Caesars. Are we not supposed to build our wealth in heaven where moth and rust can't get to them? They sure seem to be focused on worldly possessions, don't they? That's why they're not people of faith, because faith without works is dead. Caligula. I don't think I'm on that one. I've done a deep research on Stalin, Benito Mussolini, and the evil monster himself in Germany. That one I don't know about. Oh, you're going way back. Little Boot. I will look that up later. Correct, D. Because what this country has done, and if you go back to the KKK as an example, it was run by deacons and sheriffs. That's the fact. That's a reality. This is their Christian nation. I can show you pictures I've seen online, and I'm sure you've all seen them, where there's people hanging from trees by a noose, and all these white people are in front of a church wearing their Sunday finest, just walking around like they're at Disneyland. Not a care in the world. This is their version of a godly nation. It's sick. It's truly sad. Yeah, Harrison, you're right. There is too many people that are sleepwalking into fascism, and I'm going to tell you why. They're lazy. They're complacent. They don't think it's going to harm them. They don't care about anybody else. I'm keeping it 100. Can you imagine if Martin Luther King just called a senator, or if Rosa Parks just sent a letter to her senator, or John Lewis just stopped shopping at Target for a couple days? No. They got uncomfortable. Colin Kaepernick lost his job. Americans aren't. Oh, hello, John Brown. I'm sorry, I'm not familiar with that, but nice to meet you. Americans are not willing to do what's necessary. We're lazy. The number one excuse I get for a general strike, and I've had the petition up for 5 months now, is I'm not willing to stop working. Then you're not willing to do what's necessary. You cannot defeat fascism sitting on your couch watching Netflix. It's not going to happen. It's not. The only way this changes is if Americans are willing to be uncomfortable, stop working, you stop paying federal taxes. I don't care if you're in a union. They're not going to zip tie you to a UPS truck and force you to deliver boxes. If you say we're not going to do this because this is more important, then we wouldn't be here. The majority of white people are lazy. The 92% know what's going on. If we would listen to them, but too many people were intimidated by a strong black woman. So they picked this bubbling idiot that talks about Hannibal Lecter. Nobody knows more about grass than I do. Yeah, you probably smoke it. The man who literally rapes women, but somehow he's more qualified because he's a man. It's gross. But I don't think this is what they want to do. They want to, oh yeah, John, I'm sorry. Yeah. I'm sorry. I thought you meant the alliance itself. I'm sorry, John. I comment on you. I respond to you all the time. I was thinking about the alliance itself. I thought it was like the group itself I wasn't familiar with. My apologies. Yeah, we have to shut the whole thing down. This is the fundamental problem with this country. Let's look at the government like a car, okay? The car has 500,000 miles on it, okay? It's got 3 flat tires. It gets about 2 miles to the gallon. It has a broken fan belt. Does it matter if a Democrat or Republican drives that car? No. And that's what too many in this country people do. Well, we have no other option. We have to stay with it. No, you don't. This is a choice, my friends. We have chosen to stay in this two-party system because we're unwilling to be uncomfortable. How many times do we hear somebody on the far left or the far right say, oh, I have to vote for this person because it's the lesser of two evils? Do we marry people and date people like that? Well, I really don't like this guy, but he's better than the other guy. No, don't date either of them. Wait for the right candidate. Go do a dating app. I mean, you have to tear the car down, my friends. The system is not designed to help us. Look, who really thinks, honestly, who thinks the Democrats are even doing a fraction of what they should be doing? Let's look at it. All 50 voted for Marco Rubio, who's a traitor. Chuck Schumer, who's 8,000 years old, voted for the CR. Al Green is the only one that had a backbone, and then 10 Democrats censored him because it was politically beneficial. 127 Democrats voted against impeachment because it wasn't politically beneficial. Swatkin said, I can't chain myself to the White House like AOC because I don't live in a purple district. Cory Booker voted for Charles Kushner, a convicted felon, because of this. How many Democrats have spoken out against the atrocities in Palestine? All 14 senators voted for the crypto bill. Show me where the Democrats are fighting. Show me where the Democrats are the lesser of two evils. Yeah. Listen, I don't like Pelosi. I'm not a Democrat. I'm not a Republican. I'm just a person who gives a damn. I'm sick of this system screwing the people, telling us that we have to pay taxes and work our fingers to the bone and never get ahead. I'm tired of seeing people on the street being demonized. I'm tired of white supremacists walking around in red hats, acting like they rule this world just because of the color of the skin instead of the context of the character. I want people to have universal health care. I don't want people in college debt for 20 years. I don't want kids being identified by their fucking dental records in schools. Okay? What does that make me? Am I radical? Oh my gosh, then I guess I'm radical. We got too many people that love a goddamn gun, a piece of metal, than the life of children. What does that say about our country? They'll demonize trans people, 12 in college out of 500,000. Somehow that's the end of the world. Oh my gosh, not drag queens, but God forbid we identify kids in schools by their dental records. There's nothing we could do. Are you supposed to leave drunk drivers? Just let them have their driver's license because, they're going to drive anyway? Should we make fentanyl legal? Because, the bad guys are going to find a way to do fentanyl anyway? Should we make cocaine legal? Like, this is so stupid, that argument. It's absolutely stupid. Somebody asked a question about something about DeSantis. DeSantis is a bigot. He's a white Christian nationalist. There's nothing Christian about white Christian nationalists. They're Pharisees. They're religious zealots that weaponize religion to scare people. I don't think a third party, geek. It's the system itself. If you have a house where the foundation is cracked and it is falling into the dirt, it's sinking, right? You can rebuild the house all you want. You can paint the walls, spackle it, fix the drywall. You have to tear out the foundation and rebuild the house. That's the only way this is going to get fixed. We have to get away from more progressive candidates. We have to. Look at David Hogg. I love David Hogg. I think he's a good dude. What did the Democratic Party say with David Hogg? Nope. How about Kenyatta? Nope, don't want you. They're letting 82-year-old Nancy Pelosi come in there. We want new blood? Really? Does it look that way? How about when that seat came up and AOC should have gotten it? Hello, Harrison. They gave it to a 70-year-old white dude with throat cancer. Then they picked this other guy that took over for Jamie Harrison as the quote-unquote leader of the Democratic Party, whatever his name is. When did they pick AOC or Jasmine Crockett? I don't understand. The system, it doesn't matter. Even the third party. Yeah. AOC should have gotten the seat. It's a no-brainer. Have you heard? Listen, most people, is it Mondavi's? If I'm saying his name, I'm going to apologize. It's not on purpose. I always say his name wrong. Have you seen the Democratic Party support him? No, because they want to maintain the established quo. They do. If we do this and we sit to the midterms, because right now this is what the Democrats are saying: vote for us in the midterms. Today on Blue Sky, Cory Booker is quoting motivational speeches. 3 days ago, he posted a motivational speech from his coach. Is that what you want? Do you want someone to give you motivational speeches? I don't. That's the problem with the Democrats. Remember that scene in Rocky V where Tommy Gunn goes into the bar and he punches Paulie? Remember that? You know what Cory Booker would do? Hey, Tommy, it's against the law to do that. Can we sit down? Let me tell you the story about my high school football coach. He told me about perseverance and really thinking about other people before we do things. Would it be okay if we have a conversation? Could I give you a hug, Tommy? Because I think we can find common ground. That's the Democratic Party. What should they be doing is what Rocky did. He took his ass out in the street, threw him against the garbage cans, ran him through the gutters, threw him up against garbage trucks, knocked him over, and he fought dirty. That's what the party's not doing, and that's what people want. That's what I want. I don't think I'm out of line here. That's why their approval ratings in the toilet. There was an article in Rolling Stone 3 days ago. Hold on. I have the title of it. It says, Dems are struggling to register voters and raise money. A new analysis by the New York Times brings more bad news for the opposition party ahead of the midterms. Gee, I wonder why. Who knew that going on Blue Sky and posting motivational speeches from your high school football coach wasn't what the American people wanted? Who knew? If anybody just, if they even listen to people. You know where they should be right now? If it was me? Mike Johnson is literally protecting a pedophile in the White House. A convicted felon who molested girls. That is absolutely deplorable. Every Democrat should be in D.C. right now, sleeping in tents, protesting, showing videos of what's happening all over the goddamn city. Every day, all day. You go on social media. You go on every podcast. You go on every Facebook all goddamn day. All of them. You show them what's actually happening there and how this is a fascist takeover. And then you go to Congress. You open it up and you hold unofficial hearings. You bring the media in there. And if they won't let you in there, then you get your ass arrested. And if you can't get in there, then you hold it on the steps of Congress 24 hours a day. You don't think that every member of Congress in the Senate that's sitting in front of Congress day and night, sleeping in sleeping bags, you don't think that's going to get national attention? But they don't have the balls to do it. The backbone. I didn't mean it in that way. It's from sports, sorry. They don't have the backbone to do it. They just don't. That's where they should be right now. Yeah, Harris said the part of the problem is the Democrats, because of their lack. Look, the whole thing when the convicted felon, right, the child molester in the White House was saying, they're having trans surgeries in school. How many Democrats said, give me the names of 50 trans kids that had surgery? Not one Democrat. Give me the names of 50 schools, K through 12, that teach CRT. Give me the names of 50 people who aren't qualified as DEI. Not one Democrat has said it. Not one. Not one. Where the hell are they? I interviewed Eric Swalwell 6 weeks ago or something like that. You're right. When you don't put WD-40 on a squeaky hinge or a squeaky wheel, it squeaks and squeaks and squeaks and squeaks. Right? And that's what the Democrats are doing. They're allowing it to happen. Right here. Oops, sorry about that. There comes a time when silence is betrayal. Maybe the Democrats should actually follow the great Martin Luther King and take his advice, because that's exactly what they're doing. Who was more guilty, Derek Chauvin or the 3 officers that stood by and watched it happen? I don't see what's happening right now metaphorically that much different. The Democrats are watching the house burn saying, hey, I know it sucks, you guys are stuck inside, but vote for us in the midterms. In a year and a half, we'll help you. That's exactly what the Democrats are saying. It's a bunch of crap. Chris Papas. I don't know that name. I'm sorry. I don't even care who. I don't care about the midterms. Zero. Because unless we address the problem, unless we change the system, it's not going to matter. I mean, it's like getting sourdough starter, right? And getting a bad batch. It's moldy. It doesn't matter what you do. If you're going to use the bad batch, it's still going to be bad. You have to change the system. But we have to be willing to sacrifice it. And I haven't seen yet, as a society, that we're willing to be uncomfortable. Yeah, the midterms, anybody that is talking about the midterms is gaslighting you. When you go on social media right now and you go on YouTube, I want you, next time you go on there, I want you to think about this. I want you to look at their thumbnails. Look at how they're worded, the bright yellow letters. Oh my gosh, is this the end of Trump? Oh my gosh, did he said this? Oh, did you hear what she just said? It's all rage bait. It's designed to get you an emotional reaction so you watch their videos so they're grifters. None of them. You tell me one of these podcasters that's talking about what I'm talking about. None. Democrats are talking about it. They aren't. Because they want likes and views. They want outrage. We want to watch Lahaina burn. We don't want to watch the recovery. We want to watch LA burn, but we don't want to watch the recovery. We want to watch Hurricane Helene, but we don't want to watch the recovery. This is like watching the recovery, because this is the problem. Is it sexy? Is it tantalizing? Is it sensational? No. But it needs to be fixed. There's no shortcut to fish and white supremacy unless we call it out. I don't know if they're going to be voted out. I don't know if we're going to have the midterms. Trump is... You see in a hotel room where you get a black light and you go in there and they put it over the sheets? You know, and they find all the stains on there? Trump's the black light. He didn't cause this. They were like this before. They simply took off their white hoods and they put on red hats. That's all he is. He is a symptom of a larger illness. This is the remnants of us not holding the Confederacy responsible during the Civil War. That's the fact, people. That's what this is. We let it go unpunished. We shook their hands and say, let's be friends. And ever since that time, they've been crapping on everybody's rights that doesn't fit into their straight white Christian America. Have you seen one law that affects white people? Even one. His end game is martial law. He's going to go to blue cities and he's going to entice people into conflict with the military. That's what he wants. He wants to declare martial law and then suspend all elections. Yep, you're right, Vonda. He brought out what was already there. I understand the desire to blame the guy sitting, the Klan leader in the White House. He's not the problem. It's the people that enable him. When you look at Benito Mussolini, Hitler, Joseph Stalin, those people didn't do these things and rise to power and stay in power in a vacuum. They had people that supported them. If you look at a pier on the ocean, the pylons have to hold it up, right? He's not doing this in a vacuum. The entire government is enabling this. All the Republicans and all the Democrats. Ones do it actively, and the Democrats are doing it inactively. And now you have the Supreme Court that's essentially a political arm of the executive branch, unfortunately. I like, isn't Sarah? I haven't ever had any issues with Sarah McBride. That's just me. I think she's very well spoken, very intelligent. This is my opinion. It's okay to have an opinion. I really like her. I hope that's not the case, Mariah, but I can't say you're completely wrong. I find it ironic that all these people that are running around like a bunch of knuckleheads saying, freedom, freedom, Second Amendment, that this is designed for a tyrannical government. Yeah. It's funny. Joe Walsh said, if the Republicans get the House in the midterm, yeah, he's not going to leave. He's not leaving. Let's be real. You could even argue that part of the reason he's arming DC right now is for that reason, just to start it to begin with. If you don't think the Republicans are going to give him full supreme power, he's going to declare a state of emergency and take over power anyway. He's just taking power, and the Republicans are just letting it happen. They're complicit in this, and I hope that one day they all rot in jail. What they're doing to this country. Yeah. Yeah, but John Brown, I don't think this actually ended. I think this is still the remnants. It's been brewing in the background since the Confederacy lost. I mean, they were a bunch of losers. That's why I made that video today. As the lost cause was they didn't like losing. They basically took history and they said, no, it wasn't about slavery. It was about states' rights. Yeah. Look, they're heroes. Let's build statues. And now, what do you see the Republican Party doing? Taking away slavery because you don't want to talk about the bad parts of history. You see taking away the bust of Martin Luther King. You see gold in the White House. I mean, the Republicans don't want the inside of the White House to look different than the outside. That's just the reality of it. And now they want to put up Confederate statues and they're renaming bases after Confederate soldiers. I mean, let's be real, man. This is make America white again. Let's just stop kidding ourselves. That's what this is. Prager U. I don't know that. I'm sorry. I honestly believe that the only way he's going to leave. I don't disagree with you, Vonda. Regardless of what happens to him, I think the larger picture is that whole movement, that mentality needs to be addressed. Maybe that has to be them having the South again. I'm being serious. I don't know. But the reality is, for 250 years, we've dealt with these white supremacists that want women to just make them babies, and they demonize everybody. They don't make any money. They have no production, no manufacturing. They're last in education, healthcare, cost of living, happiness. They have the most crime. They just want to own the libs. They want to be the victim. That's it. Let them have Alabama and Mississippi. Go at it. Go own the libs all yourself. Wait till you go bankrupt. Wait till you need to call FEMA and there's no funding because you make no money. Go for it. I hope that's not the case, Vonda. I hope you're wrong. I can't say that you are. I just hope that I don't want it to end that way, but I don't think this is going to end. Yeah, I don't think it's going to end in a peaceful way. I hope I'm wrong. I don't want that to happen. His base is unhinged. They view him as Jesus Christ. That's the problem. They worship. He's a cult leader, just like Jim Jones. And for those of you that I'm going to Vegas on Wednesday, and Thursday and Friday I am actually hosting a radio show. I don't know if I can stream it from my account, but there's a show called Pushing the Limits hosted by Brian Shapiro. I'm hosting that Thursday and Friday from 12 to 2 p.m. Pacific time. On Friday, there's a lady, what's her name? The knitting cult lady. You guys know her? Hold on, let me see her actual name. I always get her name wrong. Daniela Mistayanek Young. I'm going to interview her on Friday. So if you guys want to hear it, we're going to talk about the cult of MAGA. She is a cult expert. Thank you, Madalena. Yep. He exposed, the rot within there. Yeah. Yeah, the knitting cult. I met her on Thursday. She was on vacation with her husband and her dog and her daughter for a couple of weeks. They drove from Maryland all the way through Canada, Seattle, Portland, all the way down the coast. And I actually met her last Thursday at a little bar in Pacifica. I think she flew back on Saturday because her daughter has school on Monday. So yeah, I'm going to interview here on Friday, live on Brian Shapiro's show. I'm hosting it Thursday and Friday. So if you guys want, either follow Brian's show, which is Pushing the Limits, or here. I'm going to ask him I'm going to text her probably tomorrow, not on a Sunday. But yeah, I'm going to be hosting it with me and Leonard. He's a retired cop. We're going to co-host it Thursday and Friday. It's a lot of fun. I don't know how many people watch it. There's a couple thousand people that watch it every day. Yeah, it's not Vonda. It's sad because I was a Republican until 2016. I understood initially in 2016 that they wanted a non-politician, but this is out of control. I voted for John McCain. He was a decent human being. I respected him. He was kind. He was compassionate. He was empathetic. He served this country honorably. And then I voted for Obama because I thought he did a damn good job. Perfect? No, but he did a good job. I've always voted. My first election was Ross Perot. I've always voted for the best candidate. But now it's just lack of morality. I mean, they overlooked January 6th, dead officers that took their lives for PTSD. I mean, raping women, abusing women, child molestation, not writing to black people, tax fraud, 34 felonies, white supremacy, very fine people. I mean, making fun of disabled people. I mean, it's disgusting. Bleeding out or whatever, grabbing women by the blankety blank. These are the Christians? These are the people that praise Jesus on Sunday? It's total pure depravity. Yeah, Pushing the Limits with Brian Shapiro. Yeah. Brian and Leonard. Yeah, me and Leonard talk all the time. We text all the time. We're good friends. I'm going to be there Thursday and Friday, 12 to 2 p.m. So I'm going to try to stream it here. I got to see if Brian can do it. Otherwise, it'll be on Brian's channel those 2 days. So, yeah, it's I voted Dem my entire life for president and until Kasich ran for president 16. Last man standing till Trump. Oh, Kasich. Oh, yeah, that's John Kasich, right? Isn't he like out of Minnesota or Michigan? Somewhere in the Midwest. I know who you're talking about. I like that guy. For me, women's health care is a red line. It's not even a question. I don't care what your tax plan is. If you take away a woman's right to choose, I will not vote for you. There is no more discussion. I don't give a damn if I get an $8,000 tax credit every year. I don't care. I care about decency and morality and people's human rights. And if more people thought that way, we would be a way better country. Yeah, no, Pantheon, I just happen to believe in God. That's just my opinion. I believe that everybody, if you want to be an atheist, worship a grasshopper, date man, date a woman. I don't care. It's none of my damn business. If you're happy, you live your life the way you want. These evangelicals, these Pharisees, want to demonize you and tear you down if you don't fit into their narrowly bigoted white version of America. And that's not okay. That's not freedom. That's control. It's sad. That is control. I'm supposed to love my neighbor. What am I supposed to say? You're a sinner? You don't think I've done bad stuff? I've had bad thoughts. I've lied? Sure I have. Am I not allowed to go to church? Well, if you start judging people, say you can't go to church because of this and you can't go to church to this, how can you say God's against trans people, but then if you rape women, if you're a pedophile and you're a convicted felon and you cause an insurrection, you cheat on your wife with a porn star, somehow that's okay. But being a trans or being gay is just a bridge too far. Tell me how that makes sense. Anybody quote me the scripture, because maybe I'm missing it. Exactly, Vonda. Believe whatever you want. Jesus was woke. Jesus was kind. But look, MAGA never wanted Jesus. If you go back in the day, oh, John Brown, that's funny. When the Sanhedrin saw Jesus, whatever you think about him, let's just say for the sake of this video, he was kind, he was compassionate, he was empathetic, he wanted to love people, he fed people that were hungry, and he cured the sick people, and he gave them hope. Regardless of what you think about him from a faith perspective. And that Sanhedrin goes, nah, we don't want that. No. That doesn't fit with our religious agenda. We're going to murder this guy. And then they went before Pontius Pilate, where he's allowed to free somebody once a year. You got Jesus and you got Barabbas, the man who murdered Christians, who was a convicted felon, serving time in jail for an insurrection. And who did they choose? Barabbas. Who did they choose in 16? Barabbas. Who did they choose in 24? Barabbas. They've never wanted Jesus. Listen to the video. I'll make a video about this. Bishop Boudet. I don't even know what her religion or faith is. That doesn't matter. She goes, let's have compassion, empathy for the immigrants. Let's be kind. Let's be caring. They're human beings. We're supposed to treat everyone the same. And what did they do? They gave her the middle finger. You better apologize for that. How dare you do that? How dare you ask for grace and compassion and mercy for immigrants? Really? Don't you think that's what Jesus would do? They've never wanted compassion. They want to judge people. Don't do this. Don't do this. Don't do this. Don't do this. Or God's going to strike you with a lightning bolt and you're going to be punished. Jesus was a star. King for this country, we need that. Yeah, farmers, simple farmers fought. Yeah, even in the, I think it was the 30s and the 40s, if I'm not mistaken, a lot of steel workers went on strike. Go look up France, May of 1968, a wildcat strike. 22% of their country went on strike. 22% against the will of their unions to fight an oppressive government like we have right now. Who has more bones, Paul Ryan or Hakeem Jeffries? Well, Paul Ryan wants to control people, and I haven't heard from him in a while. He wants to control one's body, so I don't have a lot of use for him. And Hakeem Jeffries is a jellyfish dressed as a congressman. I don't care for either one of them. That's just my opinion. Yeah, you're probably right, John Brown. I think they're both useless. Do you want a car with 4 flat tires or a car with 3 flat tires? That's kind of how I look at that question. Neither one of them are going to go very far. Paul Ryan might a little bit, but I haven't heard him in a while. Yeah, we've lived a very privileged life. And until I think the only way that the cult's going to break is when they lose their jobs or they lose family members to starvation or some illness where they don't have Medicaid. I don't want that to happen to anybody. But they voted for racism. They voted for nastiness. American exceptionalism. Me. Treat everyone like dirt. They're going to have to find out. And I don't think there's They're going to have to, you can tell a little child that the pan is hot as many times as you want. But sometimes that little child needs to touch the pan and burn their hand before they realize it's hot. And that's the FAFO. Yeah, they designed it where it's going to scale down around the midterm so they can somehow blame the Democrats for their bill. And his base is dumb enough where some of them will fall for it. I mean, let's be real. Let's just assume that the Epstein files are released tomorrow and he's in there 500 times. Do you think his base even really cares? Oh, well, that was Joe Biden put his name in there. Or, oh, wait, just because he's on the list doesn't mean he did anything. Or, hey, who are you to judge? Hey, nobody's perfect. I like his healthcare plan. I mean, that's what they're going to do. Let's be real. That's what a cult does. He can do anything and they won't leave him. I think Hawkins Jeffries is... Well, I'm sorry to hear that, John Brown. I hope that doesn't happen. I really hope that doesn't happen. I wish there was a way to get around this without people suffering, but even if we went on a general strike and we shut the country down, people are going to suffer. If we stick this through, people are going to suffer. I don't know. I don't know a solution where people aren't going to be hurt and lose their lives. I don't like it at all. I don't. But I just don't see any way around this. Yeah, Jeffries is a clown. He's like a Timo congressman. He's an absolute joke. I'm really honestly more disappointed in the Democratic Party. I do not know how absolutely feckless they are. When I interviewed Swalwell, I asked about general strike, and he basically said, in not so many words, if it helps register voters and helps the Democrats win the primaries, we're open to it. Don't give a damn about your primaries. Your job is to serve the American people, not to be reelected. You've got people in concentration camps drinking out of toilets, and you're going to tell me I can't participate in a general strike because it's too demonstrative? What do you call what's happening right now? We have a police state in D.C. against our own people, but going on a strike is too demonstrative? I mean, come on, dude. Come on. Come on, Eric. I'm so disappointed in Swalwell. He's all talk. He goes every night on CNN and MSNBC. Talk. Yep. Chicago, Oakland, they're going after the black mayors. I'm sure that's not a coincidence. Absolutely not. I don't know what legal authority he has at that point. But at this point, what's Congress going to do? Nothing. Yeah. Swalwell's not doing anything. When again, go watch my interview. Don't take my word for it. Go watch the interview. I posted it. I said, you guys are doing nothing right now. And I went through all the examples of how they just rolled over and showed their bellies. And he agreed. He said, when we had the majority under Biden, we should have raised minimum wage. We should have taken dark money out of politics. And we should have put term limits on the Supreme Court. Well, then why didn't you do it? Why didn't you do it? Because this is what politicians do. They say they're going to fix something. They don't do it. And they wait for the other party to go in and really screw it up and say, I'm not the other party. Vote for me. I'm the lesser of two evils. If the Democrats would have codified Roe versus Wade under Obama when they had the supermajority, would we be here? Would women have lost their rights? No. Yeah, the Supreme Court did it. Sure they did. But the Democrats let it happen by not doing their damn job. They screwed up. Again, didn't do their damn job. There's a lot more of us, my friends, than there are of them. A lot more. We're just not. People have to suffer more. They're not ready yet. They haven't suffered enough. Like somebody said earlier, they're having tea parties and going to movies and being happy and acting like nothing's okay. There is no point of Eli. There's no reason to. I don't disagree. There's no reason to continue in this experiment if we're going to keep living in this broken society where we're forced to pay taxes and it doesn't help us, and we live with a bunch of white supremacists that want to drag us back to 1787. There's no reason to. There's just not. I don't see why we want to continue this. If we're not going to break this up, I mean, I would not be surprised if some of these blue states want us to secede from the Union, because the reality is that's what this is. We're still fighting the North and the South. Now with this, some of the states are just more blended. It's the same thing. They don't, trust me, if you don't think the Supreme Court's going to overturn interracial marriage or send it back to the states, you're not paying attention. The DMV is tired. Yeah. When you do these protests, I said this a couple months ago. If you tell people to protest and protest and protest, that's going to go down and down and down. Because if there's not a pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, if there's not an ROI, why would you want to do that? It's human nature. You have to have an end to it. There has to be some end result, some goal, and there isn't one right now. No one's listening. I look at my friends acting like there's nothing happening and think, what is wrong with you? Well, D Nice, all I can tell you is from a lot of my friends, they're just living in white privilege. They are. It's the same reason we're here, is because during the civil rights movement, too many white people sat on their ass and didn't do anything because it didn't affect them. And even now, their mom's not in a concentration camp. Their dad's not being deported. Their state's not being overrun by cops with guns, so they don't give a damn. Their rights aren't being taken away, so they don't care. It's the lack of empathy. Oh, well, I've had a lot of people from France and Norway and Sweden tell me that every other country in this world sees what's happening except for us. Everybody sees what's happening except for us. And every one of them doesn't understand why we're sleepwalking into fascism. This is just like Germany. French Revolution, people. I'm telling you, this isn't going to solve itself. You could be right, Pantheon. You could be right. 1936. I lived in a blue state, if you don't mind, homelessness and open defecation. Every state has homeless problems, which is part of the problem with this country. This isn't a blue state issue or a red state issue. Red states are the last in almost everything. Highest in poverty, lowest in quality of life, lowest in healthcare, lowest in education, lowest in pay. Those are the states that have a lot of people living on the streets. You have more homeless people in California. Why? Because 41 million people live here. You think you're going to have more people homeless in Wyoming with 500,000 people, or a state with 41 million people? Come on. Am I in a Republican's feet or something? I don't know, Vonda. I hope not. Yeah. Gina, that's how Benito Mussolini came to power. What was that paper called? Papel de Italia? Hold on. Newspaper. What was it called? It was called Il Popolo di Italia. In 1914, he ran it 6 days a week, Tuesday to Sunday. It was propaganda. It was essentially Fox News 1.0 in printed paper. And that's how he got into the fascist leadership. Once Benito Mussolini took over power, his brother took over the paper and ran propaganda at the same time. That's how he rose to power. Propaganda is a very powerful tool when you scare people. When you tell white people that are that still think the Confederacy wasn't about slavery, that your nuclear family, your traditional family values, i.e. white America, is going away, and you scare the hell out of them. You go, oh my God, there was a black woman going to be president. Woo, man, we dodged that arrow. That's what they do. They scare them. Oh my gosh, it's the trans people. It's the gay people. But if you're white and you're a rapist and a pedophile, somehow that's okay because you fit into the traditional family values. Franco. I got to look up Franco. I haven't done research. I'm trying to go through history. I think I'm going to look up Winston Churchill next. That was next on my list. Oh, Francisco Franco? That one? Yeah, Francisco Franco. What year was that? Was he after? Oh, so he must have rolled after Benito Mussolini then. Because Mussolini was in the 20s and 30s. And for the record, it did not end well for Benito Mussolini. What he did was he spent so much time being a tough guy, owning the libs, conquering other countries. He enslaved about 130,000 of his own people for slave labor. He neglected his economy. Sound familiar? Trying to be a tough guy. People were living off of 1,000 calories a day. They purchased food on the black market, and they couldn't afford housing. So they took him out in the woodshed. Bye-bye. Then they drug him out to the square where they murdered his mistress, and they hung him in the square for 3 days, and they stoned him, which is why Hitler didn't want his body left behind. He wanted it burned because he didn't want to be humiliated like Benito Mussolini. All right, Anthony, see you later. Yep, Mussolini was taken out by his own people because they were tired of his quality of life, and that's what the guy's doing now. He's trying to be a tough guy with his Big Macs and his diapers and his orange makeup, and he's neglecting the economy. And once his farmers feel it, once his base, all three of their teeth in their trailers feel it, because they own the libs and they lose their farms and they lose their houses, they lose their Medicaid, then they'll turn on him. Now, what that looks like, only God knows that. Don't know. But I know what I did see. I saw January 6th, and they were willing to do that over just an election. Just imagine what happens if they actually have something to personally affect them, like their job and their livelihood and their medical care. We could be on the same kind of path here, my friends. Don't want it, but it's possible. Yeah, I follow Tom Powell. He's the guy with the guitar in the background. Was it like AC/DC or something? Yeah, I know him. All right, my friends. I'm going to go hang out with my little guy for a little while. I just want to jump in on a Sunday. Meet you at the square. Well, if I have to go to D.C. and camp out there and actually be the one to start it, that might be where we have to go with this and start from there and just have it spread out. Maybe that's what we have to do. It might be here in a couple of weeks where we're going to have to, as people, are going to have to be loud and sit on the steps of Congress until they actually do their damn job. That might be what it takes. It might have to be that. Maybe that's how we start. All right, my friends. Enjoy your Sunday.